Poetry open mic. I'm going to make a few announcements about what's going on here, but before I do that, we welcome Robert Lashley from Bellingham, Washington, here to present his new book, Up South. I'm blown away by this guy when I got to see him in Redmond, Washington, and I'm super excited that he's here, and I also want to just thank him for making the long trip down here to be with us. So a couple of things for you to know about what's happening tonight. We have CVTV is in the house making a video about Ghost Town Poetry Open Mic, so thank you to them. I'm also telling you that because if for some reason you have an objection to being on CVTV, you'll have to let Jory know. That's Jory on the camera. And we also have our videographer, Tiffany Burba, so same thing there. For some reason you don't want to be on the YouTubes for all eternity, let Tiffany know. And let's see, there's food and drink, as I think most of you know, next door at Niche. You can bring the food and drink in here. Just be really careful with the wine glasses and be aware that you're not allowed to take any wine in front of the establishment and go in between the two businesses. You can go through those doors at the back as much as you want, as often as you want, but you can't bring a glass of wine out onto the front. It's a liquor control thing. What else? Be careful of the art in this particular show, which is called Petals. We have a lot of very delicate stuff. I think we pretty successfully tried to get that stuff sort of out of your way, but just be aware of what's around you at all times and try not to injure yourself or the art in any way. You break it, you buy it. Yes, that's what Leah had to say before she left tonight. Anything else? Oh yeah, the bathroom that you're going to want to use is in Niche. So you go to the back of the back of Niche. There's a very beautiful facilities. There are facilities at the back of this room through the black door, but unless the other is locked and you can't get in and you're really in trouble, you probably want to go next door. It's just much more comfortable over there. I think that's all as far as that kind of stuff goes. Yeah, we do have some open seats. Could you raise your hand if there's like an open seat or two next to you so those folks looking for seats know where they can come and find one? Okay. So we're really fortunate. We've been here in Vancouver since November of 2004. We're happy to still be here, and we'll still be here as long as people keep coming. And I see new faces out there, so that's what keeps it alive too, is to get those new folks in here. So thank you to anybody who's here for the first time, or some of you who haven't been here for a while and are coming back. We're glad to see you again. Tony, my wife and co-host, is holding up the happy hour. They have agreed to extend the happy hour for us every month for Ghost Town Poetry, so you have some very affordable items here, and please be good to Reed and Dave next door. They work really hard to make it a fun experience for you, and so treat them well and tip them.
You didn't know I was making faces on the board.
And what we typically do is we allow our videographer to be first on the list so that she can then concentrate on making us all look very good. So we're going to do that again tonight. So please say hello to Tiffany Burba.
Thank you. So I have a few poems, mostly poems I wrote when I could not sleep. So the first one is The Wolf and the Moon. The wolf sits under the spring sky as he looks for love, calls for love. The moon appears as he hears the wolf's cries, and the moon weeps silently at the love that will never come. Oh, how awful to be the moon. No wonder his face is pockmarked with scars, deep craters of all the tears he has absorbed from others. I used to think the moon was responsible for my tears. Now I understand. He may have been the one drawing them. I noticed the cup of tears I cried into many of nights was also gone. I asked him, "Did you take them?" He remains silent as the ocean rises ever so slightly. I assume it was my tears that caused the increase in the waves. This poem is called Love. He wanted to know what made her love him. She knew there was nothing that felt better than sitting next to him. Her favorite moments are sweet conversations. With his arms wrapped tight around her, his lips close to her ear. She holds him close. Her body absorbs him like a sponge. She lies naked below mounds of blankets, his warmth still lingering in disheveled sheets. Sorry, I can't speak tonight. And there's been a lot of bridge lifts happening lately. So what do when there's a bridge lift? You write a poem at 6 o'clock in the morning. So this is my poem called Goodbye to the Moon. I see you staring at me behind those clouds. Do you get pleasure in watching me cry? You tell the ocean it's time. Bring her the pain so the rain can fall. We need her tears to help the seeds grow. We need the extra salt to add into the ocean. But why me? Why do you consistently give me love, only to rip it so brutally away from me? You're a coward as you hide, go missing for days, only to pull me in with your fullness, leave me trembling in the early morning hours. You are a cruel sort of God, one who hides sheepishly behind the sky. But where do I go to retreat? Where is my invisibility? Where are the hidden shadows for my hiding when I don't want to be seen? Please cease your early morning conversations with the sun. I see you to have betrayed me since birth. You take away love, reveal new love that is even greater than the love before. You leave me to gasp for air, a breath that does not feel like knives twisting. I will no longer hunt your orange brilliance or your morose gray of winter. I will grieve you along with the rest of the love that you have removed from my life. So go hide behind your clouds, your vast playground of sky. I will walk the remainder of my days, draped in your gray flannel, until the sun calls me home. There I will burn with all the love I was unable to give. I will burn for eternity. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany. And next we're going to hear from Ian Caton.
Hi, everybody.
Yes.
So I've been thinking a lot about current events and things like that, and I follow David Frum on Twitter. If you guys don't know who David Frum is, he's a speechwriter for George W. Bush, who coined the term "the axis of evil," and so this is a series of his tweets that he recently published on April 28th. I titled it "Nobody Could Have Known" by David Frum. Nobody could have known the presidency was hard. As Newt Gingrich pointed out, nobody could have known that the president is sometimes criticized and occasionally does not get his own way. All of this information was cunningly concealed by being put in books and other forms of writing. Also, nobody could have known that 2-year-old tweets are retrievable. Nobody could have known it was wrong for a former head of an intelligence agency to accept money from foreign governments. Nobody could have known that a few dozen little white lies about things like wiretapping could cause so much trouble. Nobody could have known that removing health coverage from tens of millions of people might have political consequences. Nobody could have known that tax plans are supposed to come with numbers. Nobody could have known that they tally and publish how much your weekend golf excursions cost the public. Nobody could have known that the Indian and the Pacific are 2 different oceans. Nobody could have known that Congress would ask questions if you accepted $400 million from a state-controlled Chinese bank. Nobody could have known that when photographed with children, you're supposed to pretend to like them. Nobody could have known that threatening to cancel a 30-year-old trillion-dollar North American trade deal might upset somebody. Nobody could have known that his wife often looks unhappy when his back is turned. All right, this is from the newspaper today. It's by Agnes, is that her name? Agnes France-Priest. She's probably, she must be British. It's a very British proper name. Agnes France-Priest from the Daily Telegraph. She writes, "The best words. Trump may be a poet without knowing it. I know words. I have the best words, Donald Trump said one day in his superlative way. Now those words by the new US president have been pulled together as a collection of poetry in Norway. Who knew? Trump the poet? What Trump says is closer to poetry and fiction than to reality, says the Norwegian man who created the collection, Chris Felt. We're appalled that his rhetoric, which seems to have little thought or preparation behind it, could have won an electoral campaign, Felt told the newspaper Aftenposten. The book's tongue-in-cheek title is Make Poetry Great Again, a play on Trump's campaign slogan, Make America Great Again. The content is composed strictly from speeches, interviews, and other statements that the 70-year-old has given over the years. Among the choice bits turned to poems in the book are words about his daughter that Trump said around 10 years ago. I have said, if Ivanka were not my daughter, perhaps I would be dating her. Felt said that the words may be terribly macho, pitiful, and confusing, but when the quotations have space around them, I see other facets of him. Reading Trump's words as poetry, Felt said he felt them more despair, more insecurity, and perhaps an inferiority complex. According to the publisher Kagan, the first print run was 2,000 copies, one of which has been sent to Trump. Now the question is whether his penchant for superlatives will make it a bestseller. So here are a few of Trump's quotes. On success, everything in life is luck. On the US, the country is going to hell. We have people who don't know what they're doing in Washington. On his hard life, my whole life really has been a no, and I fought through it. It has not been easy for me. My father gave me a small loan of $1 million. On Muslims after the San Bernardino shooting, I am calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on. There's a few others in here that I'm not going to read because they're just disgusting. But the last one I'll read is on abortion. There has to be some form of punishment for the woman. He then reversed his position 2 hours later. So that's our president. That's what we'd be. And then I wrote this one. This is a series of haikus. This is called, This is Not a Poem About Misogyny. This is not a poem about misogyny. This is a poem about hunger. This is not a poem about nepotism. This is a poem about access and partiality. This is not a poem about conflicts of interest or honoring contractual agreements. This is a poem about drive. This is not a poem about values or respect for human rights. This is not a poem about propaganda. This is a poem about computer programs designed to crush dissent. This is not a poem about ambition or one about submission. This is not a poem about surplus. This is not a poem about greed. This is not a poem about community. This poem is not about Michael Flynn or Jeff Sessions, Jared Kushner or Eric Prince. This poem is not about Paul Manafort or Carter Page, Jason Chaffetz, or even Boris Epstein. This is not even a poem about Henry Kissinger or Vladimir Putin. This is a poem about money and power, recoil, distance. Thanks.
Yes.
Don't forget your back.
My lunch is in there.
Thank you, Ian King. And so our next reader has been here before, but it's been quite a while, so I'm happy to welcome him back. Please say hello to Emily Fall, everybody.
Yeah!
All right, it's good to have you back.
Yeah.
Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Emmett Wheatfall from Portland, Oregon. I'm a part of the Milwaukee Poetry Series. It's just great to be here. Just a little quick note, appreciation for Christopher Luna, my second book, We Think We Know. He wrote a very affirming back panel piece for that book, and so forever indebted to you for that. I have a piece I want to share with you tonight. It's a piece I wrote back in 2009. I think it's kind of fun. I'm about 6'3", so this is different for me.
We can get that a little bit higher than
Could we
that.
do that? Yeah, thank you. I know there's a Jolly Green Giant, but there are Jolly Black Giants too. And I'm one.
Is that good?
Yeah, very good. Thank you, sir. This poem is called May and Buck. May and Buck. May was her name. That gal was quite the dame, with a head full of hair and stacked like a runaway freight train. She had thighs that didn't lie. More than a few guys walked away tight-lipped, and her hips, oh my God, them things could resurrect a sunken treasure ship. She had long legs and gorgeous feet. Every time May walked, you never heard a rickety board squeak. When May spoke, everyone in the room took note. With every word, there was a hint of breath. You never quite knew what May was getting at. When a woman like May talks like that, what's a man supposed to do? Gawk? Mumble? I can't tell you how many guys May humbled. It was a shame, too. Some of those guys had real game. But in the end, that sassy chick took all their names. May was as wild as they come. All she ever wanted was a whole lot of fun. She was from the South, a loose woman with a sultry mouth. All she wanted, and she wasn't all that sweet, like a fine Georgia peach. All the other women would whisper, "Here comes that man-hogging leech." But May, she didn't care. Every one of them tramps understood laissez-faire. May's disposition suggested they'd better beware. Oh, by the way, May was a gal who liked to fight. Not a night went by before some broad got tuned up right. Look, May didn't play. In a hot second, she'd grab some hair, and away she'd go dropping a pair of lefts and then some rights. And when she got through with a broad, man, a few of them trumps, it felt like a long, long night. But on the flip side, May was a lover too. All she wanted was a good man, something a lot of people fail to understand. The root of May's problem, she was looking for love from a heart that was true, somebody she could hold on to. Then Buck came along. This Negro was fine and strong. No woman had gotten him to take her hand. Everybody wondered, what's wrong with this man? Buck was hardworking, a man who kept his word. If he shook your hand, that was it, man. Buck owned his own home. Weary was he at living alone. As a matter of fact, Buck didn't like that. Plus, he had a whole lot of money. Come to think of it, it's kind of funny. He never spent money on the honeys. Buck understood the value of money. One day on his way to the store, Buck crossed paths with May. For once in his life, Buck didn't know what to say. My name is Buck. How do you do? I'm mighty fine, May said. How about you? Then Buck's courage returned. A woman like you makes a man's skin burn. May said, well now, you the kind of man that'll make a woman's ankle turn. May, with a sultry little sigh, can a lady like me get a ride? I'm just up the street, around the corner, on the other side. Buck said, why, yes, you can. Looks like what you need is a good man. Someone you can take by the hand. Change your name from Miss to Man. May said, oh my Lord, You just my kind. And my, you got quite the perceptive mind. Yes, I'm looking for a good man. Rest assured, you can have my hand. Well, the rest is history. 5 kids later, Buck and May, well, they still together. Oh, by the way, May, she's got a good name. That's why all them other ladies, they don't know what to say. And May, well, she don't get in fights anymore. As a matter of fact, she's a church usher working the front door.
Yeah!
Whoa. Quite a change. Let me like this up and go around. Well, just a little bit, because our next reader is going to probably need it. Maybe about like that. Hey, thank you all for coming. We're really excited to share Robert with you tonight. So that's going to be fun, and he will be up shortly. But before then, I'm going to invite Rob Gorley up, and Rob has come here all the way from Aberdeen. So Rob.
Welcome back.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Thank you.
6 months or something.
Yeah.
Second
That should be good enough. What do you think?
maybe up just a little.
Yeah, you can probably just cut the. There you go.
There you go.
Like that?
Perfect, yeah.
Barely 6 inches. Run 6 feet from my football on the sunny path. That's a haiku. I call that an alligator lizard hatchling. Too young to really run far enough. I didn't try to catch it. Okay, this was... Each bedroom has 2 doorways. The last bedroom down the hall has a second door for going out back, which wasn't so much of a factor in choosing this harbor cottage as a convenience that came with the place, like the half-wild cat. We began moving in after forking over the cashier's check at our closing date. Before John and I could transport up the laundry appliances, Chris baited to death a large rat finding entry nightly through a hole in the hall floor, meant to receive the dryer exhaust tube. A week of thorough vacuuming, followed by carpet shampooing into the weekend ensued, and onto the window cleaning, replaced the roof that winter, replaced the stove that winter. Bedroom 1's second floor leads to a bathroom, as does bedroom 2's. Although 2's is kept closed with a rolled up bath mat shoved underneath to block the draft, because that bedroom is rarely heated. The upstairs garret is one long room, 3 windows and a second door to a rough storage attic. The door at the bottom of stairs keeps out first floor noise, kitchen odors, and cats. Only after several years of cottage living did I wake up one morning recollecting that when we visited my grandparents' Georgian Bay cottage in summer, whilst the blueberries were ripe, I'd hear my granddad going out his bedroom's back door, 22 in hand, before dawn brightened, to scare the pesky groundhog near his garden plot. Before recalling Granddad's room, I'd thought, our last bedroom's outside door, unique in my experience. Guess not. Whether fate or coincidence, it's a tie to the past we've bought. Thanks a lot for listening.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna I'm gonna fix this. There we go. It's terrible. I think I started out at 5'2". I'm about at maybe 5'1" now, and it's going down. Anyway, how many of you had an opportunity to see the Poetry on the Sidewalks in April?
I did.
A few? Oh, yay. Okay, great. That's great. If you didn't, they should still be there for another, I don't know, what, 3 weeks? Maybe another 3 weeks. You can only see them when it rains, which is really cool. And we do have maps up here. So, this is the first draft of a poem that I wrote the day that I was sitting outside of I have 2 poems. The first place that I was sitting at, the project is called Rainku. That's the name of the poem. And the first place that I was stationed at was US Bank on Main Street. How many of you know where that is? Yeah, a few of you. Okay. So you know on a Saturday at that stretch of Main Street, it was pretty lonely. So here's my poem about that experience. The US Bank on Main Street is closed. I finally ID the poem's sidewalk location, set up my chair, arrange the maps. I sit, close to the spray bottle, ensuring that my words will remain visible. After all, it was a sunny day, right? It's a Saturday, and the sun is chasing the clouds. Right now, the clouds are winning. The breeze is still, it's early spring chilly. Today, the rain that's beaten down my new garden shoots has spared us, left us alone. I might say, yeah, it's left us alone. So I settle in, awaiting the hordes of poetry enthusiasts who'll wander down this lonely stretch of Main Street. So I wait. Then I wait some more. A few walkers breeze by. One glances in my direction, the other ignores me and my poem. Yet I sit and wait. I'm daydreaming about hot coffee or a movie on my couch, wrapped up in Grandma's Afghan with my sweetheart by my side. Oh. Yet I'm thinking that writing poetry is a thankless job. Especially today. It's a Saturday after all, and there's so much else to do. So I take a deep breath, use the spray bottle to unveil the words, remember that poetry is an acquired taste, and I'm not here to convert or convince the skeptics. So I settle back, begin crafting this poem, which will last longer than the ink used for the Rainku poems. And I think about my good fortune, and as I look up toward the sky, a small green pickup passes by, and a bearded man in a baseball cap puts his arm out the window. A waiver, I think. Considering a wave back. But I wait. It isn't a wave. It's the middle finger. And at last I realize I can't convert this one to poetry on this lonely stretch of Main Street in Vancouver, Washington. I've never been sitting with a poem and got the bird before. I mean, it was like, okay, something to write about, right? It was really humbling, I must say. Our next reader, Scott Yeager. Scott, come on up. Oh, yes, Scott is our audio guy.
Yeah, thanks.
And he'll help you adjust the mic.
Thanks, Tony. So what I wanted to say about that, this mic stand has been lovingly donated by my brother who stopped playing music when he got too busy making money working at Google, and left all this shit in my parents' garage. So anyway, you know, if you're feeling like maybe you want to mess with this thing and figure out how it works, go for it. If you break it, there's another one where it came from, and you won't make me mad. And if you need help, you can just ask. And if you want to have an explanation, I can do that before, after, or during the break. So that's my spiel. Oh, I also want to say a little word about Christopher Luna's writing workshop called The Work. Happens every second Saturday. It'll be this coming Saturday, and you know, I write poems like most every day, but usually when I come here, I read something that I wrote at the work if I've been there. So, like this one. It's called 100-Hour Run. We all brought our favorite costumes, substances, playthings, beverages, music, partners claim the bedrooms, explore the space, move around the furniture just a bit to invite everyone to stop milling in the kitchen. Max doesn't organize these things anymore, but still plays host in a way, cooks a few big meals, cracks eggs with each hand. Shells, don't worry about them. 12, 24, I lose count into the massive cast iron pan. Sleep, who needs it? I can't keep up with him, though. Gotta at least have a short nap each day. At least for one sunset. Wait, at least one sunset to join in putting the bullet to my nose. But don't have the stamina anymore. Get weird, get weirder. Like falling into these 4 nights, waiting for a new year somewhere near Everett. Not sleeping is a drug of its own, and maybe Max's favorite. And this will be a 100-hour run. Driving home past Bellingham, dodge some traffic, accidentally get in line to cross the border, and they find just a little bit of weed, residual straws. He calls me later. I step between cars of a southbound Amtrak Cascades, still coming down from the party. I laugh, oh my God, what the fuck, are you serious? Most people don't see it this way, would never condone, let alone tolerate this kind of brain and body chemistry experimentation. Before you lecture me about what I choose to put in my body, let's remember that TV is an experiment in simultaneous senses, and overload is the goal, disabling your defenses to imprint a message. Coke keeps you up at night. Caffeine addiction bolsters Starbucks shares. Hold a cup of sweet love in your hand, and the chemicals flow before even the first sip tasted confirms that this is the good shit. Emotional addict, keep coming back because you make me feel this way, even though I hate it. I can't live without you next to me on the couch. Can't go to sleep until we've consummated this desire, because that's just the way it is, and I never imagined that this parting could be so liberating, despite that it always happens this way. I am myself again. But what is a conduit without connections, or a stream without water? Say the part taken away is not either. The whole influx is lost, or I go under again. Getting here felt like an accomplishment until I realized how much I have left to learn every day. This is the path burning like an eternally long cigarette. To extinguish it would mean giving up what I've become again. Give myself a break, not taking it easy with my dreams, but remembering their unburdened essence again, again, again. Thank you.
So I was just looking around the room, and I'm going to invite up our next reader, but it occurred to me that in this room tonight are 5 members of the original writing group that Chris and I were in way long ago, and we're all here in the room together tonight. So I don't know, that just really got to me a minute ago. The group, if you've never worked with a poetry writing group, I mean, it changed for me personally, it changed so much about my writing. It really strengthened it, getting that kind of feedback from people that I really felt really respected and really loved their work. So anyway, I just thought I would mention that. It came to me that they're all sitting in this room tonight, which was really cool. And here's one of them, Eileen Elliott. Come on up, Eileen.
Makes me all weepy.
Oh yeah, right.
You know what a sentimental woman I am.
I know.
I've been thinking a lot about our country, and I keep looking for reasons to be hopeful. And so I find metaphors in the strangest places, even digging in around old drafts of poems. And I found this one. I'm sorry. Okay. And those of you who know me know a lot of my earlier work was a lot about Midwestern life and kind of celebrating the agrarian lifestyle. But this is called Outliving a Tree. And it was written when I went back to my homestead a few years ago. And I was thinking about if the tree can make it, maybe we can too. So, this is called Outliving a Tree. The Dutch elm dived right in, bit into the earth with tiny root teeth. March wind whipped our flannel kerchiefs as we watched it take to the tit of Mother Earth. It started as a stick, really. Not even childish imagination could grasp its possibility. A miracle of leaves and twigs and more branches. The stick, soon a trunk, a rough gray, textured, so tough it served as blizzard armor. We made a sacred rite of communing, artesian water as wine and red-winged blackbirds as choir. Up and up it struggled. It struggled. Past knee, waist, shoulder, head, stepladder high before I forsook my trees for city parks and romps in alpine meadows far away. On a visit back to the farm, the chimney bricks already tumbled into the root cellar, but the tree was still standing, loyal in spite of our rude neglectfulness. This second one is kind of a little segue to Tony's story about humility and lack of respect for poems. A friend of mine heard of a poem I wrote about Meals on Wheels for a book that I'm working on about people who don't have a whole lot. So, and asked if he could reprint it in a newsletter for Meals on Wheels. I said, sure, no problem. Well, and I got kind of puffed up about it. Like, whew, I got something published and it's going to be all over and people are going to like it. Well, I got the newsletter and it said, Meals on Wheels is Food for the Soul by Eileen Elliott, client of Meals on Wheels. So it made me realize my temporal grasp on the word. And actually I did some work for them, and it really is a pretty exciting thing to be able to connect with people, and that's what this poem's about. Meals on Wheels is food for the soul. 10:30. She stares out the window. A vapor of loneliness congeals, occludes the view of the parking lot, the trash imprisoned by last year's weeds. 10:35. She straightens the pillows on the lumpy divan. aligns the coffee table one more time. 12 inches, no more, no less, from the couch's edge. 10:40. She cranks up the heat, shudders as the fan exhales warmth, stretches fingers, warming wrists, no longer saving on the heat. 10:45. Crunching tires activate her alert system. Car door slams. Energy of firm tread. Sure steps precede the hearty knocking. 10:48. The door swings wide and life pours in. Pushes away the cold air. Chases out futility and brings in mashed potatoes.
Thanks, Eileen. Now we're going to welcome back another old friend of the series. Please say hello to Carter Crockett.